and you were kind of getting paid to skate since you were 18 years old, like in one way or the other.
Yeah, correct. I mean, basically, like I graduated high school in like June, and then I went on like my first real big skate trip in 2000, or I mean, whatever. Right after I graduated, like a month later, to China, which was pretty insane. And after that moment in time, it just kind of started moving in that way and started making some money, and kind of, I guess that became my job.
So that was right after you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
How was that? Like at 18 years old, traveling with vans and going across the country, across the world, and just doing shit that 18-year-olds are typically not really doing, and kind of like essentially living the dream. How do you think that like affected you? You know what I mean?
Um, I mean, obviously, like it was surreal. For me to, jump on a plane and fly to a country that I obviously knew nothing about, and then be able to go and like ride my skateboard at like perfect spots, and then also get to meet like a bunch of older guys and other people who became my good friends and stuff. It was just like it was it was amazing, and I think yeah, I would come back from those trips and see my other friends, and like, they would be probably like probably jealous, but like, ultimately I was super thankful to get those experiences. Um and I guess a way that it kind of shaped me was it just kind of, I guess, gave me some experience, like I didn't go to college. Obviously, I tried to, but I wasn't able to because I kept getting these trips coming up, and then whatever, I had to drop out. But yeah, you get to learn different aspects of other cultures, and just, I don't know, you become like a, I don't want to say like street smart, but you know what I mean. Like you learn things that you can't learn in a classroom about life and stuff. So I
Yeah,
guess that was what I got out of that.
yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking like if like when I was 18, if I was to have gone to China with Vans, I would just be on some like on some like party all the time shit. You know what I mean?
I
Was
mean,
that
I
what it
was
was
doing
like?
that for sure. Yeah. I think like, yeah, at that time I kind of was first, exploring like partying and stuff, and my that first trip, like Dustin Dolan was there, and I being a super young and naive, and also just kind of like somebody who wanted to, fit in and whatever, like I latched onto that, and like we were uh we were having a really good time. And you know I definitely was drinking more than I should have, because I could have done a lot more, but whatever, it was fun.
Did you already know everyone on Vans, or
Not
like how
really.
did you getting on Vans come about?
Well, uh in 2003, I uh I was like in love with Vans shoes. Like the half cabs and the Jeff Rowley shoe, his first one. Like I remember like skating in those, and I was like, dude, these are so good. And at the time, like a lot of the other shoes were pretty bulky, and I was trading some other shoes that I was getting from some other companies at the local skate shop for some Vans, and I was like, I wish there was a way I could try to get some shoes from them. And a friend of mine, Randy, he was friends with this guy named Thong, and Thong knew a guy by the name of Nate, who is a shoe designer at Vans. So I was I got my tape to, my sponsor me video. I got it to the team manager at that time, Steve Luther, and I guess he watched it and saw something that he liked, and they called me, and um, yeah, they started flowing me shoes, and I guess throughout that next year, I kind of just kept doing my thing, and then yeah, a year later, well, they were like, we're down to put you on the team, but you need a board sponsor. And at that time, I didn't have a board sponsor. I was getting flowed from a couple different companies, and then actually Matt Mumford, was starting his board company at the time. He had left Zero, or I don't know if he rode for Mystery. I don't remember, but he started this one called Legacy, and I met him, and they put me on that team, and then I was able to get on Vans.
Yeah, it's really crazy. You're saying you're saying like the sponsor me tape. I feel like that doesn't really exist anymore, and not just that, but like so many things in skating that once existed, especially during the time period where you started skating, probably don't exist anymore, and the culture is like radically changed. With everything, with social media, with also with just like mainstream acceptance and stuff like that. As somebody who's been in the skate scene for a long time, and not just in the skate scene but also like working in it, you know what I mean, like that's your job. How do you see these things how do you see the change in skateboarding since like the days of sponsor me tapes and all that type of stuff, and really like skater owned company? If it's not skater owned company, then it's clipped, to nowadays. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I've seen a lot of changes, and the way things were when I first started getting going is much different than it is now. Part of me wants to be like, I don't like the new way of things. I want to keep it old school or whatever, but ultimately you gotta adapt, and survive in the current state of stuff. But yeah, I think right now skateboarding is pretty amazing in that it's so big that it's capable of catering to a lot of people, and for instance, what I mean by that is like when I got on Vans 20 years ago, there was like, maybe 10 or 15 people on the team, and that's all that they had. And you figure now there's probably like with their whole program, like they have enough resources and ability to, kind of sponsor, I would say probably closer to 50, so it's like, it's a bigger thing. And within skateboarding, there's so many different, whatever you want to call it, little, not a genre, but like little like avenues that have different directions and little pockets for different things. So I think that's kind of the coolest thing right now about skating is there isn't like, you don't have to just do one thing, you don't necessarily have to follow one path. There's multiple different paths you can do. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what I think to be like one of the good things about skating right now,
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that the main platform for skateboarding, in my opinion, skateboarding media, I'm saying, is social media, particularly Instagram? Like the way I see it, Instagram is the platform for not just skating, but since we're talking about skating, it's the platform for skateboarding media, as opposed to like before it was like there'd be Thrasher magazine printed, there would be Skateboarder magazine printed, there'd be Transworld magazine printed, and that's where you went to find out the shit. And it was like, for me at least, almost like a piece of art, because I get to hold this thing, I get to look, and there's artists featured in it. They design the pages the way they do, and it's like in a way like not a more creative process, because of course like social media is photo and video, and you can get really creative with in those two like parameters, but it's just it's just different. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely I agree with you for sure. I mean, I used to like get really excited about holding a new magazine when it would come out. It would be like, oh my god, I can't wait to look through this. And obviously at times I would have photos in there, and yeah, you think back then, like I remember we would go shoot skate photos and it was on film. You wouldn't be able to see it. You'd have to wait, and then maybe like the photographer you shot the photo with would be like, it came out, it looks good, I'm going to send it up to Burnett at Thrasher, or send it over to whoever at the Skateboard Mag, or I mean that was later, but like at Transworld or whatever, Skin or something. So like you didn't even know what the photos would look like until you saw them actually printed in the magazine, and then you were like, wow, this looks pretty cool. Whereas now everything is so quick. Somebody takes a photo, you look at it, and then it's updated to their phone, and then they send it over to you, and then within a second you can kind of shoot it right out there onto the internet, and it's all just kind of so fast, which isn't a bad thing. But at the same time, as quick as that thing can go up, I think just as quick it can be kind of forgotten about, or just gone right through your mental memory state. So I definitely I think back on those days where it was much less, meaning you waited, there'd be companies would come out with a big team video once a year or once every couple years, or there was more magazines and stuff. I mean, it definitely made it more special for sure. And I know for myself personally, there's so much skating right now, and it's all so good and amazing, but it's just it's hard to see it all and to actually be able to take it all in. So I mean, I know for myself I struggle with that, and then you wonder well, if the other audience, maybe they're feeling the same way. If you put something out, maybe it doesn't mean as much as it would if it was in a different format. But I don't know.
There's just such a desensitization to being good at skating, because you can go to your local park and everyone's pro level.
Yeah.
And I just think that's comes with the territory of skateboarding as a thing growing, in terms of how many people do it, but also just in terms of the years. A street skateboarding hasn't been around for hundreds of years. Let's say something like boxing has been around for hundreds of years, or this they've almost grown into themselves. But street skateboarding specifically, it hasn't been, and now that it people are just getting better and better, and what you thought was pro level is changing, or what you think an idea, for me, what I think the idea of what a pro is doesn't necessarily have to do with skill as much as it has to do with, in my opinion, style. And there are those skateboarders who are in that type of time. But in terms of you and how you go about filming video parts, or even just uploading skate tricks to Instagram, how does that affect the way you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know.
Do you get hyped at all to post something on Instagram, like a skate clip?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, if you put something up and you get some positive feedback from it, obviously that makes you feel good, and you're going to want to try to do that again, definitely. In terms of how do I just go about trying to film stuff?
Yeah, when you're filming with a real camera, for more of an actual project that's going to come out on whatever, is that in the back of your head, just the shit that people are uploading to Instagram? You know what I mean? Because a part is supposed to be special, a part is supposed to be different from it's almost like Instagram should be for throwaway clips, but it's not. It's where you would want to post the heaviest bangers and the enders.
For sure. I mean, now it's the biggest platform, definitely. I mean, I guess when it comes to that, I'm just kind of trying to just focus on staying in my lane, if you will, and I think, I'm trying to just do the best that I can, and continue trying to, pursue that same feeling that I've always gotten from skating, and trying to progress and find new spots and go there and film something. And for me, the whole filming process is more so about that, the trick is something, but it's more if I'm I'll drive around and I'll go try to find something, and then if I find something, then I come up with an idea, and then I have to get the filmer out, and sometimes the thing takes work or whatever, and more often than not, the trick itself becomes a battle because I don't know. I'm not that good at skating, but like I have to like really fucking push through this whole process, and then once I hopefully am able to, become victorious and achieve what I wanted to do, then I feel good about that, and then I try to build on that, and then uh, yeah, you kind of have this idea for the big project, and I mean it's tough, dude. Like in Los Angeles right now, like there is, I would say probably, you know, 90% of like sponsored and professional skateboarders are here, and like they've been here, and after the pandemic it seemed like the whole city just got skated on so hard and it got smashed, you know what I mean? And like nowadays, like it's like there is very little spots here,